So if you've come to this from shorts, hi. I know there's a lot of people watching my shorts. I didn't think they'd work, but they actually are working. They're driving people to my channel. Don't know why. They just seem to work. I was actually told a little while ago that shorts don't work, but they are actually working. They're driving people to my channel and they're actually getting watched. Maybe it's because it's just 60 seconds. So today we're going to talk about algorithms, what I hate about them. I don't actually like anything about them, to be honest with you. Obviously they were designed for a reason in the beginning. 100% don't know what that was for. Probably because it was the amount of traffic we were getting, and I can try and explain that in a while. But retail marketing, I think, is behind most of it, and that is the traction is to drive adverts and get our information to drive more adverts, and that's more important than seeing what our friends see. Our friends would probably have to commit a murder for us to actually see what's going on with them. So when I get back, I'm going to sit down and we'll explore that together. I'm back and you've caught me having a coffee. Oh my God, I used to hate those YouTube things. Especially when you're going on YouTube to try and find out that one bit of information you want, and you've got to wade through 4 or 5 minutes of bollocks at the beginning of all these things they're trying to sell and everything else. And that's why I decided after I retired and up my stroke to come back and just do YouTube, start a new channel and just do YouTube for people wanting to look, listen, learn, etc. without all the bloody adverts and everything else. Oh my God, it used to drive me mad. But then you've got to think, why do they do that? They try and drive people to their channels with gimmicks and ideas. I did actually do a YouTube course ages ago. It cost a load of money and it taught you how to put the tags in, put what words to use, what are the popular things people look for, this, that and the other. And that actually does work to a certain extent. But the problem is we've been driven by algorithms. YouTube's driven by algorithms, Instagram, Twitter. Elon Musk came on Twitter and he said he was going to change all these things. And whether you love him or hate him, he is very Marmite. His whole channel is driven by negativity, and so is everything else. A friend of mine who does positive hypnotherapy, he's so positive, and a couple of my other friends are so positive, and the whole of my old business model with Fujiholics and everything else was to be positive, to talk about the nice things about things, to bring up the sort of downside to things, but not be negative and nasty. The problem comes is over the last 10 years, the media have learnt, I could even go on for hours about the media, but I'll just tell you one quick story. There's a guy that writes for the Liverpool Echo. I actually like his writing. He is a journalist. He does really, really good journalism. And he wrote this article once and he said, or sent me a message to have a read of it. And I went on the Echo site and I tried to read it. It was bloody ridiculous, right? Because every time you tried to read one section, the page would refresh and put another advert in, another advert in, another advert in. And I said to him, have you ever tried to read your work online? And he said, no. No. That was a huge shock to me. I've been told for years by people that don't work in the industry anymore, especially the photographers, that it's all driven by clickbait. It's all driven for clicks and it's all driven for adverts. And that's what pays for the newspapers. Well, if the adverts and the advertisers are paying for the newspapers, what actual truth are you getting and what decent journalism are you getting? Nothing, because it's clickbait. You've only got to look at the titles for venomous snow and venomous storm coming and this coming and that coming. And even a simple little thing as a little incident in the street now is horrific this and horrific that. And the whole thing is to get the titles to draw you in, to make you go click, to make you look, and then you look. At the moment, you've got the likes of GB News and all the other things online. It's all clickbait and it says major changes coming to driving, major changes coming to the law, there ain't no bloody major changes. There's little tiny changes that no one gives a shit about most of the time, but it's to make you look. Now then, if you can think of that in algorithms for social media, it's no different. Oh, the beauty of Facebook years ago, and I'm talking years ago, when I used to come home from work, get engaged with my friends, have a bloody good laugh online, used to go on don'tstayin.com, after you've been out night clubbing all night and talk to all your mates, and even people slagged MySpace off, but I had thousands of people on MySpace, and at the end of the day, you could have a good laugh. MySpace stopped working because I just had so many friends and we were up to so much that it all just jammed up in the end. So, but it was a good thing. Don't know what Tom from MySpace is doing these days, but at the end of the day, Those days have gone. You can't come home and talk to your friends on Facebook unless you're in a group. And even the groups, you can't build a nice group because there's always some tit that comes in there that wants to be negative and nasty and try and make themselves feel better by slagging you off and making the whole world a shitty place. I don't know whether I've just said this or not, so I'll say it again. My friend runs this hypnotherapy business. He is desperately trying to market his business. But because it's positive-based hypnotherapy, he struggles, and he's already been to see a few people to see how he can help advertise and market. And he's already been told it's negativity that sells these days. So the reason that negativity is, and I touched on it earlier, is because in marketing, more people see something if it's negative than they do if it's positive. So if someone has a great experience with a packet of crisps, they probably tell their partner or their daughter or their son maybe. They don't tell anyone else. But if they buy a bag of crisps with 16 maggots in it, it's going to be in the newspaper because it's going to be clickbait. So at the end of the day, negativity is what's driving social media at the moment. A negative thing and a positive thing. So it's actually helping people to build their channels, social media. It's also the trolls. I don't think Elon Musk wants to get rid of the trolls because the trolls create clicks, they create arguments, and they create traffic. They do on YouTube. I did a little while ago a slightly negative post about photography is dying, and it was the most hits I've ever had on YouTube this year. And the reason is because I learned how to write a negative-ish title and also do a video that started leading people in negatively and then come up with all the points, and maybe in the next video come up with more points. The actual whole finish of the video was in the next video and it hardly got any hits. Now that's because it was negatively driven. Now let's have a look at what else is going on as well. So out there, you've got all sorts of stuff going on Instagram where they say, come and be an ambassador for us, and they give you a dog chew toy. Oh my God, the people that fall for that. Just because you're getting one little free thing, and some of it's a con, so be very, very careful out there. To be an ambassador, which I've been for a couple of companies, they pay you. Some pay you a huge amount of money a year. Some pay you, like Nike, for instance, would pay a sports person $1 million a year or whatever, or more, right? They pay you. If you've done something great, they pay you to advertise their stuff. If you're just Joe Blogs in the street and you've got a few followers, they're just going to someone's going to try and con you because they're going to say, if I give you this, will you talk about it? Well, that's just one little thing, and maybe you did want it. Good luck to you if that's what you want to do, but you could have got a lot more out of it. I've actually been paid not to go and do something for another company. In fact, the company I was working for at the time found out another company was going to offer me a gig, and they paid me the money for the gig not to go and do the gig, basically. So there is a lot of money out there, and I understand what goes on and I understand how that side of it works. But the negativity is driving social media to, well, I'm off Twitter. I've come off Twitter, I've come off most of the things. I come off Facebook years ago, but I've opened my account again and I have a look every now and again at the weekend just to see what my mates are doing. That's a struggle. I can hardly see what my mates are doing. It's just a tumbleweed of more videos and more shit and more negativity and more crap. I would love to go on Facebook and see what all my mates have done last weekend. What they've been up to, what photographs they've put on, what they're up to, what's coming next, if they've had any kids, this, that and the other. I would love to. On Instagram, I would love to see what all my photography friends are putting on their Instagrams. But what do I see? Hundreds of adverts. 1 in 5 posts it used to be 5 years ago was an advert. Now it's nearly every other post is an advert, if not a stream of adverts. I don't want to see the bloody adverts. I want to see what my friends are doing. And I can't because of the algorithms. So the way to game algorithms, there's many ways you can game. And this isn't a video about gaming algorithms. It's just telling you what's going on. So you can pay people to give you more likes. You can pay people to grow your channel. And a lot of these people do. If you look at some of these influencers out there, they've paid for their channels, but the great marketing people know they have because they can check that out because they can pay for a company to actually see whether they've done the follow trick, which is keep following thousands and thousands of people, then just unfollow them all. And then you end up with 100,000 followers and you're following 6, which makes you look good. That's how it used to be anyway. In the old days of social media, people used to follow you because they just wanted to see what you were doing. I think it was Gordon Lang, myself and a few others got 1 million followers almost instantly on Google Plus when that was a thing. And it's just one of those algorithm driven things at a time where they put us on a list of people that are worth following. That was very interesting. What a great way to do it. Now you don't know who you're following and what they are. And there's a couple of the things I've seen on Instagram where people are just really nasty and negative all the time. And it's quite funny these days because trolls can actually become really, really big accounts. There's some really nasty accounts online which people are following. And that then goes on to all the protests in London and all the shit that's going on in the world. The negativity driven through social media is driving, I would say, normal people, sensible people away from social media. I always said at 60, I would come off everything. I've stayed on. I've stayed on because I want to try and make these YouTube videos and I want to try and do something positive. And if I can do something positive and people want to watch and people want to look at what I do, then I'm going to carry on doing them. If my channel doesn't get any traction, doesn't do anything, then I shall finish it off by the time I'm 65, say. But at the moment it's working. I write my blog, I do these videos, they're good for me, they're good to help me think, they're good to help me talk the way I'm talking, and maybe if I carry on doing these, maybe I'll get up on stage one day and do talks again, who knows. It's getting better and better in my brain, so I might do that one day. So how can we change the negativity in social media? I actually don't know. I am welcome to have your thoughts below this. I really would like to have them and maybe I'll make another video. I don't think we can. I think we're all set up for negativity. We're set up for fake news. We're set up for terrible videos. You know, a nasty thing that gets put online, gets shared everywhere. The advertisers have been good at it for years. You know, if they can create some negativity, instead of having to pay to be advertised, they can be on the front page of every newspaper. Nike have only got to make up one bad campaign and boom, there we go. And then you get on to the trans argument and all the other arguments around the world. They are really, really good at picking at all these threads and pulling and picking and pulling and picking and creating things online that you don't even know exists. So you can try groups on Facebook. You can try groups in ways to try and make a group of photographers and this, that and the other and create something good and interesting. I used to do that with Fujiholics and I used to try and get some groups of people together. And I've helped a lot of people over my time to be in exhibitions and to do things great in photography and everything else. It's so difficult to help people these days because it's so difficult to be able to even get good stuff out there. Anyway, there's my thoughts for today. Hope you have a great week and a great weekend. Stay positive and try and ignore the negative shit. See you later.